Hello there, and welcome to this morning's devotion. This morning's text comes from Romans chapter 5, verse 6, which says, "For when we were yet without strength, in due time Christ died for the ungodly." I think that everyone at one point or another has been weak, obviously. Everyone has experienced some sort of helplessness at some point in their life, whether a situation arises in their life in which literally there's nothing that you or I or anyone can do to force the outcome that we want. And even after we exhaust all of our mortal talent, skill, and ability, there are still situations that cannot be solved with our own minds or fixed with our hands. Even after trying our very hardest and putting our heart into it and putting our soul into it and giving the matter everything that we can, there comes a point in which we can do no more, and we must resign ourselves to whatever outcome has already been ordained. Unfortunately, situations like this, like the one I just described, don't just happen every once in a while, but rather they happen many times, perhaps even daily. Whether we're waiting to hear back certain news or waiting on someone else to perform their duty so that we can work, or maybe even on a personal note, waiting on our own body to heal. These are all times when we are yet without strength. These are situations in which we cannot force the outcome, and no amount of work or skill on our own part is able to resolve the issue that we face. And so, when was the last time that you found yourself without strength? When was the last time that you encountered a situation in which you literally did everything that you could do, and yet all of your effort could not resolve the issue, and so you were forced by circumstance to give yourself to whatever outcome the situation may entail? These sorts of situations happen all too often. But I think what matters most is not what happens in the situation itself, but rather how we respond to such events, whether good or bad. And what we must learn is that oftentimes things do not work out the way that we think that they will. And so our text verse this morning says, "When we were without strength, in due time Christ died." But when you think about it, does that make any logical sense from a human perspective? How does Christ's death solve our weakness? And is this the response that we would expect from God? I mean, God, after all, acknowledges our own lack of strength, and in response, he gives his son, who takes on the same weakness of human flesh that we have, and then dies? How does this act of God benefit us or resolve our situation? How does Christ's death give us strength? And I think that the answer to this is that Christ's death gives us strength because he has risen again. When Jesus died, the world and sin and the devil all sang together in praise because their enemy had died and was no more. But their jubilation was short-lived, because 3 days later, God vindicated his own son by raising him from the dead, proving once and for all that he has the ultimate power over life and death. And so we can take comfort in the fact that when we are yet without strength, Christ not only died, but arose. He has the power over life, so that we ought not fear whatever situation we face. And he has the power over death, so that we ought not fear when we cross that final river. Weakness shows us that the power we need to see the day through is not found in our own knowledge, skill, or ability, but it is the power of God working inside our hearts and through our own personhood that displays his strength, even in our weakest moments. Thank you for joining this morning, and I pray that you have a blessed day.